Hello everyone. It is a pleasure to be with you this August gathering at the India Global Week 2020. Joining from Singapore, I am Atul Temurnikar, co-founder and chairman of the Global Schools Foundation. Among the many social and cultural projects that we do, we also run the Global Indian International Schools and the One World International Schools. Today we are going to have an interesting conversation on truly transformative partnerships in the business collaboration areas with some of the most creative and innovative minds on the subject. Joining me from Singapore are Mr. Wong Hing Fine, Group CEO, Sabana Jurong Private Limited, Mr. Girish Ramachandran, President Asia Pacific of the Tata Consultancy Services based in Singapore, and Mr. Satya Ramamurthy, Partner and Global Head of Strategy and Head of Infrastructure and Government for KPMG. Around the mid-90s, Singapore's then Prime Minister, Mr. Goh Chak Tong, took exceptional steps to engage with India at economy and many other levels. Since then, the partnerships between Singapore and India have only grown from being just an umbilical one to one of the strongest in social and a powerful economic one. It has led to substantial improvements in the business engagements and made lives better for their citizens. Today, we shall explore areas for industry collaboration in key areas such as infrastructure and skills and development, and in areas such as technology, life sciences, and other emerging sectors. In these post-COVID times, our focus shall be to explore major business transformations that will attract Singaporean companies or the MNCs based here to grow their business in India, and the Indian MNCs and businesses to grow their business in Singapore. I believe that the most transformative initiatives by India is that of Atmanirbhar Bharat, or Self-Reliant India, announced recently by Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. This is not just a call or scaling up of manufacturing to next level, but it is also a well thought out program that will be a win-win for the people of India and also for the investors to grow their businesses in one of the fastest growing and reliable economies. Today, India is in the world's top 2 positions for startups, adding roughly 4 startups per hour, which is at this speed arguably is the most unprecedented in the modern world. The government is giving ample capital support by promising over 1.5 billion in funds. In fact, one of our alumni, Jayasimha Pasumarthi, is one of the youngest entrepreneurs in India and a proud part of India's startup ecosystem. Jayasimha is one of the thousands benefiting from the incubators, futuristic ideas and schemes supported by the government and mentored by the leaders of the private sector. This phenomenally positive startup change is happening across the country, not just in big cities, but across the length and breadth of the country. Almost half of the new job opportunities and the SMEs in the country are created in the Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, which means ideas, talent, and capital is spreading far and wide. For India, Singapore is its largest trading partner, with bilateral trade estimated to hit 50 billion by 2025. India too is looking at ways and means to stretch its GDP to 5 trillion USD, which is not a question of whether it can, but merely a question of when it will achieve. One way of looking at transformation in present times is to explore where Singapore's business strengths lie and how can both countries leverage on these. One such example could be that of the silicon manufacturing, which India can spin the entire value chain in that sector. And the best part, semiconductor design talent is abundantly available within the country. Today, India has launched schemes for electronics manufacturing in order to position India as a global hub. in the space of electronics, system design and manufacturing, or ESDM. India also supplies to the world all the talent that is needed to operate these chip industries. In fact, Indians since the 80s have been involved in the VLSI design, chip design and development from the times of 8085 processors to Pentium chips, and have a massive talent pool across the world. So Samsung, Hynix, Intel and TSMC can now easily look forward to setting up these plants in India. Tesla too, I understand, is exploring India as a possible base for manufacturing of their EVs. Having chip manufacturing will help entire electronics products value chain. However, when it comes to execution, there are some good lessons that India can take from China and Vietnam, who have established a vibrant manufacturing sector, and India can offer a complementary proposition to the investors rather than a competing one. Among the most attractive factors that make India a destination of choice for the multinationals are logistics and maritime potential, a very large domestic consumption base, a massive investment in physical and digital infrastructure. It seems it has already set one of the longest fiber networks across the country and possibly in the world. The historic tax reforms, GST, etc., speed at which they were introduced speaks volumes of the leadership of Shri Modi. Business-friendly government and increased ease of doing business, a young workforce, a high technology adoption rates, and focus on sustainability and environment conservation. Singapore and the world should realize that entrepreneurship, technology and innovation are at the heart of transformation of India, and likewise Singapore. The Startup India movement has created a dynamic ecosystem, and India's startups are revolutionizing service delivery and quality as well across several emerging areas of the growth. India has the second best ecosystem for startups in the world. The recent moves are likely to cause some exponential growth in India's own social and digital app platforms. A large number of them are finding solutions for the unique challenges in India, and several of them are leveraging technology to enhance the health and education outcomes as well. Finally, for the ease of doing business, this pandemic perhaps will help India accelerate its ease of doing business to get into the top 25 by 2025. Let me now invite my colleague, Mr. Wong Hyung Fine, to give his thoughts on the transformative partnerships. Thank you. Mr. Wong, you talked about 5G. I think that is one of the largest opportunity area that everyone can look forward to. And with the skills on both sides, it's going to be a great win-win for India and Singapore. I think Mr. Satya, you also talked about the vaccine, and I think that's on top of everybody's mind, whether it is PPE kits or vaccines. Any collaboration in any of these areas will be highly beneficial to both Singapore and India. And I like your aspect of digital citizens, which Girish, you put it very eloquently. And it is to show that every country has to get into full services on digital platforms, and to make sure that every citizen is able to get to the service as quickly as possible. With that, I want to thank all my panelists, Mr. Wong, Mr. Satya, and Mr. Girish. And thank you, India Week, for having us and enjoying the panel discussion. Thank you so much.